You know that feeling when someone who's been asking for consequences finally gets them? Well, multiply that by 1,000,000, add some handcuffs, and you've got the absolute beautiful downfall of Jack Doherty. This man went from flexing McLarens and throwing cash around like confetti to getting arrested, banned from every platform that matters, all while watching that mountain of money fade away. Because Jack Doherty didn't just fall off. He got bodied by reality, dragged through the legal system, and now begging for Instagram follows from his mom's house. We're talking about a guy who somehow convinced himself he was untouchable. But the bill always comes due eventually, and Jack's bill just arrived with interest. So, let's kick things off with the Miami arrest because that's where everything started unraveling publicly. Jack was out in Miami doing his usual routine, causing problems for content. He was promoting some gambling site, blocking traffic, being loud and obnoxious, basically checking every box on the how to get arrested bingo card. His bodyguard's there, his camera's rolling, and Jack's feeling himself like he always does. Then the cops show up, and for the first time in Jack's life, his oversized bodyguard can't save him. You can literally see it in Jack's face. This is the first time someone with actual authority has checked him. So, no amount of money, no bodyguard, or any amount of clout is going to save him from this. They slapped the cuffs on him right there on stream, and the internet absolutely erupted. Yep, Jack DHY in jail. Jack DHY in jail. Barbecue chicken alert. Oh my god, what amazing news. Because finally this kid was facing real consequences. Jack then got hit with felony possession of amphetamines. That's the big one. In Florida, that's classified as a third-degree felony, which on paper means up to 5 years behind bars and a $5,000 fine. Then there's the marijuana charge, about 20 which is a misdemeanor, but still goes on your record. And then resisting arrest without violence, which is what happens when you can't keep your mouth shut and just comply with basic instructions. Now, before everyone starts celebrating, thinking Jack's about to do a 5-year bid, let's pump the brakes. The maximum sentence and the likely sentence are two completely different things. Jack's got no criminal history, and Florida courts don't typically send first-time drug offenders to prison unless there's intent to distribute or violence involved. So, the most likely outcome will be probation. Probably somewhere between 6 months to a year, maybe longer, depending on how the judge feels about his attitude. But here's where it gets interesting. Probation isn't just don't get arrested again. Judges can attach conditions that completely restrict your lifestyle. Things like random drug screenings, mandatory substance abuse counseling, and restrictions on travel. But the best part is that they could prohibit him from creating content that involves illegal activity or public disturbances. Imagine Jack Doherty on probation, where he literally can't do the harassment pranks that built his channel. That's not just a slap on the wrist. That's career suicide with a legal stamp on it. That will most definitely tank his content and revenue. But wait, there's more. Because while Jack's dealing with criminal court, there's a civil lawsuit waiting in the wings that nobody's talking about yet. Jack's ex-girlfriend, McKinley Richardson, could possibly have a case against him, too. Now, she hasn't filed anything yet, but the door is wide open. And with Jack's recent arrest proving he's unstable and reckless, this is literally the perfect time for her to strike. So, if everything she opened up about is true, things like convincing her to start an OAF, taking control of the account, pocketing 50 to 70% of everything she made, and then publicly humiliated her at a staged wedding where he basically called her a user and a gold digger. That's not just scummy, That's legally actionable. We're talking intentional infliction of emotional distress, fraudulent contracts signed under pressure, invasion of privacy for streaming their relationship without real consent, and defamation for trashing her reputation publicly. So, if McKinley's lawyers are smart, they are watching Jack's arrest and licking their chops because now they can walk into court and say, "Your Honor, look at this man's behavior. He's facing felony charges. He's reckless. He's dangerous. And so, our client needs protection." Boom. Restraining order granted. And once you've got that restraining order, the civil suit becomes so much easier. You've already established a pattern of harmful behavior. Now you just need to prove damages. And considering Jack was allegedly making $500,000 a month off her content, those damages add up fast. Now the question is, would we want that to happen? I don't know. I will let you guys decide because in all honesty, McKinley is just as scummy as Jack. After what both of them have done, they both deserve to lose everything. But anyway, The financial hit from a lawsuit like that could be devastating for Jack. We're talking settlements potentially in the hundreds of thousands, maybe more. And that's money Jack doesn't have anymore. Which brings us to the real death blow, the platform bans. See, while everyone's focused on the arrest, the thing that's actually killing Jack's career is that he's been systematically exiled from every platform that generates real income. Let's start with Kick. Jack got permanently banned from Kick after crashing his McLaren on stream. But that wasn't even his first ban on Kick. He'd already been suspended twice before. Once for pressuring of models to expose themselves on camera in front of his underage audience, and another time for brawling with Neon at a boxing event. So Kick gave him chance after chance, and he burned every single one. Now that Kick ban alone cost him $70,000 a month. That's not a small hit. That's rent for a mansion he can no longer afford, or car payments on supercars that could now get repossessed, or even employee salaries he can't pay anymore. And Jack not being able to afford a bodyguard would be Christmas every day of the year. But it gets even worse for him. After Jack tried to sneak into TwitchCon, an event he wasn't invited to, and immediately started causing problems by harassing other streamers, yelling slurs, and being disruptive. Twitch security kicked him out and slapped him with a 1-year suspension for violating their code of conduct at an official event. So, even if he wanted to rebuild on Twitch, he can't. Now, YouTube's still technically available, but his channel is dying. Every new video gets ratioed into oblivion with 3 times more dislikes than likes. Comment sections filled with people roasting him, and his views are tanking because nobody wants to watch him anymore. They are not interested in his content. They are interested in watching him fail. And you can't monetize Schadenfreude when you're the one people are laughing at. So, the only streaming option Jack has is Party, a crypto platform nobody's heard of, or Pump Fun, which is another crypto site that exists solely to promote scam coins. So, these aren't exactly viable options. They're basically the streaming equivalent of being banished to the Shadow Realm. But now, let's talk numbers, because this is where Jack's situation goes from bad to catastrophic. At his peak, Jack was burning through about $90,000 a month. Between mansion rent, supercar payments, bodyguard salaries, other employees, and lifestyle expenses, it all added up. And when you're pulling in $500,000 a month from your girlfriend's OAF plus $70,000 from Kick plus YouTube ad revenue and sponsorships, $90,000 a month is manageable. But now McKinley's gone and took her OAF income with her. Kick banned him and took that $70,000 monthly check. Sponsors dropped him after the McLaren crash and his YouTube revenue is down to maybe $15,000 a month if he's lucky. He's bringing in a fraction of what he used to while his expenses haven't changed. So, the math stopped working months ago. That's why everyone's saying he's going broke. Yes, he may have joked about the fact that he's back at his parents' house. But with all these expenses, plus the legal costs coming his way, it could very well become his reality soon. And the saddest part is that Jack still thinks he can bounce back from all of this. And this shows in his actions, because straight after being released from jail, he's at a nightclub wearing a custom t-shirt with his own mugshot on it. He's on stream talking about how traumatic jail was. Bro, that was the longest, most miserable 24 hours of my life. Like, I literally can't believe I'm out now, and I'm just so freaking happy and thankful, while simultaneously bragging about the drugs that got him arrested in the first place. Then, he's admitting he hasn't slept in days and talking about how Adderall made him successful. At this point, he's basically just handing prosecutors a highlight reel of probation violations before he's even been sentenced. So, this kid is actively sabotaging himself and doesn't even realize it. Or maybe he does realize it and just doesn't care because he's so desperate for content that he'll risk his freedom for views. Either way, it's pathetic, and nobody in his circle is helping him. His friends are just enabling the chaos, riding the sinking ship down because they've got nowhere else to go, while other streamers have completely cut him off. Aiden Ross banned him from clubs. Neon won't let him near his events. Even the Island Boys are probably reconsidering their association at this point, because as of right now, Jack Doherty is facing felony charges that'll likely result in strict probation. He's banned from every platform that matters, hemorrhaging money he doesn't have, one lawsuit away from complete financial ruin, and back in his childhood bedroom trying to convince people he's still relevant. But the truth is, Jack brought this all upon himself. And now he's finally facing the consequences for his actions. and the internet doesn't feel sorry for him. We're all just sitting here watching with popcorn because this is what accountability looks like when it finally catches up to someone who thought they were above it. Because Jack Doherty didn't just lose everything, he threw it all away. But let me know in the comments what you think will happen to Jack Doherty. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.